Don't fade me, bro. This is the WeWin Sports Podcast.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the WeWin Sports Podcast. It's still March Madness. Today, we'll give you our 30-second rants, and we will give you our 2 best bets of the week. David Woodley started Speed Survivor. I invested $100,000 in cash in Woodley as CEO founder. Website is speedsurvivor.com. Woodley has great knowledge and sharp takes. Hello, CEO Woodley. Brandon Cantu is a 2-time World Series of Poker winner and has a World Poker Tour title as well. Cantu always has well-thought-out takes and brought us a guest today. Mike Matusow is a 4-time World Series of Poker winner. Mikey knows sports, studies sports, and watches more games than all of us combined. Welcome, GRP Wins. Nice bear hats. I'm a Packers guy, though. Cantu and Woodley are both big GRP Win fans. Check out his Twitter at GRPwins. Mike, coming in hot. What's your rant?
Well, I watched, I think, the best NBA game last night that I've seen this season. And as much as I thought Minnesota was dead, Denver was dead, Minnesota was dead, Denver was dead, Minnesota was dead, and it ended up being Denver was dead. Now, that is an absolute fact. I mean, that was literally, I thought 4 times both teams were completely dead. Like the first quarter, it was 30-14 in favor of Denver, going all the way to where Denver led by 11 with 7 minutes to go into the fourth, and by 8 with 4 minutes to go, to where Denver was down 6 with a minute to go, where they somehow got to overtime. Then in the first overtime, they were down 6 with a minute to go, where they got to second overtime, where they took a 6-point lead, where Minnesota then took the lead, and then the game was over, and Russell Westbrook decided, well, I've played a good game. Jokic's played the greatest game in NBA history. I think I'll just miss a free throw, miss a layup, and foul a guy on a 3-point shooter and hand the game over to Minnesota. What a game.
Okay, I want to just say this, okay, because I made one bet yesterday. I bet a brilliant bet. I bet Anthony. I bet my guy Ant over.
Bet he had 14 with like 8 minutes to go in the game.
No, Mike, it was worse than that. I bet him over 25.5 points. I looked at the stat sheet. He had 8 points with like 8 minutes left to go. Is what I thought I saw.
Yeah, that's right. He scored 14 in the.
What I thought I saw was 7 minutes to go. He had 8 points, so I just gave up. I didn't even bother turning the game on. It's over. And then later,
he went off in the last 7 minutes of the game. That's how they came back from 11 down, and then he went off in overtime and a second overtime, and
the 2 best games of the year.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, GRP Wins. We're coming at you. You've never done a rant before on this show, and welcome to the show. Do you have a little rant for us?
My rant is all these dishonest pick sellers that are now selling picks in the sports industry. Number one, 95% of the guys don't even bet the games. Number 2, all they got to do is pull out a notebook. After they make a pick, write it down in the notebook, send out a tweet of what they wrote in the notebook, and then every day just keep adding it onto the notebook. But none of them will do that because they're so afraid of the truth. They're so afraid to be exposed as frauds. In this whole industry, there needs to be a cleanup, and I hope I'm at the forefront of it with just writing things down in a notebook. And if you have a losing year, just admit it, guys. It happens.
I mean, GRP, I love that. If you watch our show, you'll know that Mike Matusow had a historically bad season.
And I guarantee you, if he bets the NFL, he did not win either. Okay? Anybody who's fucking has a clue did not win in the NFL last year.
Right.
Only squares like you fucking idiots. Fucking, because 68% favorites won. So morons like Cantu, Woodley, and fucking Phil won all the money, and they think they're geniuses.
I I'm definitely a genius.
Same with the NCAA tournament. Oh, I had 15 of 16 final 16 teams. I'm so good. No, you picked all the chalks because you're a fucking square.
It's interesting you mention this.
Right, buddy? Tell him.
I love your antics. And you know what? I've followed you on and off. You are a smart sports bettor. But I got news for you. I had a winning year in the NFL. Not a lot. Maybe, $5,000, whatever, betting $1,000 a game.
Yeah.
But still, I won. I'm not going to apologize for winning. And every year's different. And the NCAA tournament I didn't bet one game. I'm not a basketball guy. But, yes, all the favorites have won. That doesn't mean they're dummies. I mean, come on. These guys that said 2 weeks ago Duke was clearly the better team, these people were smart. And I wish I was one of them, but I wasn't. They were right. And they were smart, and they're not going to apologize to you because you're raising your voice. They won.
Yeah. We had a guest with Alan Boston was on here a few weeks ago, and he insisted that Alabama was going to beat Duke. And
okay, I got to say this about Alan Boston. We think he's a genius,
okay, though.
Great
He's
guy,
good,
but
smart guy.
But Mike, he's an unlucky sports bettor like you. So he gave us all this great knowledge, but the picks unfortunately went the other direction. Woodley, coming in hot for your rant, if you have one.
Real quick though, I want to kick it over to GRP real quick because one of the things we've been trying to stress to Mike is he does like the pick sellers, and one in particular. He's a big fan of.
I told you I'm walking off the set if you do that again. I swear to God, I told you in the fucking chat. Don't piss me the fuck off.
Woodley, let it go. Let it go.
We'll let it go. We do.
Mike's a little sensitive right now. He will walk off the set.
Because you make shit up and then and try and make me look fucking bad.
Mike.
It's okay,
to be
Mike.
fair, we're not going to hammer you with the Steve Fezzik stuff, but you did like him, so we're going to let you go. We're going to let you off the hook.
I've never met him. I don't know who he is. I've never fucking bet one of his fucking games. So fuck off.
My rant is.
To be fair, Woodley, I'll just say this and then your rant. Mikey
you guys are fucking see him posting like 95-1 favorites.
Correct.
And then you associate me with him because you want to make fun of me. And I'm not going to deal with it, okay?
Well, Mike hates the 95-1 stuff. Woodley, give us your rant.
My rant is baseball, which has managed to screw everything up again. I don't know if you've seen this controversy around like the torpedo bats. Which a lot of teams have been. This isn't like new.
They've been using it last year. They used it.
Yeah,
let them go, Mike.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have used it, but like the Yankees, it was like the second game of the year, and they had like 9 home runs, and Judge had 3, which is incredible. But like in this kind of social media age, everybody throws their arms up, and it's the torpedo bats. They've hacked this. They've hacked it. It's blah blah blah. And and there's just such an overreaction there that all the real news got like. Nobody actually spent 2 seconds to find out what the truth is. Like, one, all the Yankee players don't use it, and two, like there's a ton of players around MLB that use it. Like there's a catcher on the Twins that hasn't done shit that's been using it. But like all of a sudden you have people watching baseball, and all of a sudden these like torpedo bats is like a really fun story. Like the sports books were doing like profit boosts on it and stuff, and it was just like this and that and the other. 2 days ago, MLB comes out and they say, okay, yeah, we're gonna allow this. This is within the rules. And then like it was this morning or last night, it was reported that MLB is looking to like ban him now. So like once again, MLB, which needs to be injecting fun and have a reason for people to talk about it, has a thing to talk about, and they're going to get rid of it, which is a bummer. And here's the thing, like even if it did provide a bit of an advantage, who cares? Like ban it after the year. Like let these guys go and hit 1 million home runs this year. Let the pitchers adjust. It would be a great storyline to follow, but now they're going to get rid of it. And, like it's MLB regular season. Like I'll watch because I'm a big fan, but it's like the slow decline there as well. And the second part of my rant goes on to last week as well. Like I said, the Twins ownership, terrible owners, cheap, didn't make any moves, cutting all this, won't sell the team. What do? They start out of the gates 0-4. Like, thank God they won a game last night. Otherwise, I was probably going to have a stroke watching it. They finally came back and won. So, MLB, just get your shit together.
Cantu.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but my rant was going to be on the same thing on the torpedo bats. And then I watch a lot of people like Dave Portnoy's at the front at the front lines, and he is like, ban him. I think it's because he's a Boston guy and the Yankees are doing it personally.
And then he lied. He lied and said Judge was using him.
Let me finish, Mike. Nothing's more exciting to me than all these home run races. Baseball was at its best in like the late 90s when it was a race to 65. All the players are 60 to 65 home runs, all juiced up. This is like baseball's way to let everybody use steroids, but not use steroids and let everybody hit the home runs. I think the only reason this is even like a big thing is because of the extreme cases like Anthony Volpe's bat, where it's like near the handle is sweet spot. And it's really noticeable. But other than that, what a great thing for baseball.
I think sometimes we don't know what's going to make a sport hot. Like NBA numbers are way, way, way down. All right, for the first time, way down. And I was a little bit part of that. And then they traded Luka, and it just seemed like it supercharged the whole league. And the numbers went way up. Why did that happen? I don't understand. So, yeah. All right, so I'm coming with my pick hot right now. My number one pick. We're giving you 2 picks each. Then GRP Wins comes next. My pick in any sport, I'm going. By the way, I've been super hot on the show. GRP can actually attest this, hopefully. The last 4 or 5 weeks, I think I've only given one loser. Today, my pick is Duke -5, okay, in the Final Four. And, I'm tempted to give my second pick, too. So it's Duke against Houston. So Duke -5.
Why don't we go 2 picks each because we have 5 of us. That's a good idea.
We're going 2.
Okay. And then my second pick is Knueppel in the same game over 14.5 points. Okay, Knueppel, who I didn't really know about till the last few games, just he's one of these right place, right time kind of guys, and from northern Wisconsin, baby. So Knueppel over 14.5. I also noticed that Flagg's number is 19.5. Now, he wasn't close last time. He was too busy filling the stat sheet and winning. So those are my 2 picks, Duke -5 and Knueppel over 14.5 points. GRP, what do you think of those picks? We discuss our picks. You like those or no? Or you don't know enough about basketball, you can pass.
I'm not a big, I used to be a big NBA handicapper 40 years ago, but we all know what's happened to the NBA in the last 5 years. It's kind of gotten a little sad. It's not what it used to be. I mean, load management, Bird and Jordan and Magic, you guys, they never heard of the phrase load management. So I'm really kind of an NFL specialist. So my 2 picks are, I actually bet them.
Wait, hold on, okay. GRP. We'll come back to you. Mike, okay. What do you think of my picks?
I don't like either one, and it's not. I'm going to tell you why. Houston has the number 1 defense in all of the college basketball.
Here we go again. The underdogs.
Here we go. You could say, first of all, they know square pegs like you are going to bet Duke. They opened at 4.5, and the pegs bet it up to 5. Okay, and they are the number 1 defensive team against the number 1 offensive team. Okay, and everybody knows to win in all sports, defense wins championships. I'm taking the 5, and I'm going under on Knueppel. And I really like the under on Knueppel more than I like the side on Houston.
Woodley.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Mike's a genius and comes up with this. And when Duke wins by 10, he'll say he was on the right side, like he has been all tournament.
The refs.
Like he's
I can't believe those refs. I can't believe those refs.
Because listen, square pegs like you two are like, yeah, oh my God, Duke's the favorite to win. They only opened them 4.5, and now you can lay 5 because the squares bet them up 0.5 point. Oh, the sports books are so far off on the number. My God, Duke's gonna win by 100.
The books have been getting smoked. Right. Like the problem with Mike is he never adjusts.
They got smoked in the NFL. They're getting smoked now. But guess what? In fucking a year from now, when you fucking assholes are fucking got no money because you fucking like, I have 28% winners this year because I'm betting the favorites every game.
Well, we don't do that, and we have like 30 episodes to prove that we don't do that. Anyways,
28 of them. I'll take Minnesota and Seattle in the NFL, my home teams, and they won every game, but they lost the last 5, which you had to lose, which put your record on like 14-5 at the end of the year.
I sat on here 3 weeks ago, and what I say about the tournament, I said it's very clear that the top 4 teams are here and everyone else is below here. So I was
agree.
like, as much.
I agree.
And
I had
said
3
that.
of the top 4.
And you don't. And like
What, Mike?
And,
You just lectured us about picking favorites, and you
I had 3 of the top 4 in the final 4, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to sit there and fucking lay the points
And the Elite
on the
Eight,
favorite every game. Just because every favorite covered, except for the one I bet on Florida in the final fucking 8. Okay,
Mike,
in the last
that's
2
just not
rounds.
True. You told us you
It
bet
is
Michigan
true,
State.
dude.
You told
The
us
top
you bet
1
Michigan
and 2
State
teams
as well.
all covered the last 2 weeks. Except they went like 8-1 or something like that.
George,
Well,
George,
see,
can I tell you something real quick? George, this is why we are
Stop.
so excited to have you on the podcast, because now you are going to be documenting our picks. When Mike tells us he bet 3 of the 4 favorites, we know that isn't true, as he's rooting for Michigan State, like honor, and the other one, he was anti-Auburn, or there's another one I know he bet as an underdog. We're going to have you be
I
able to-
bet the
we're
fucking
gonna come
the
back.
only favorite that lost, Florida. That's the only one that lost.
Mike,
2 rounds.
Mike, no one outsmarts the notebook. Once you say something, if I write it down, even if I scratch it off, it can never be erased. It never is going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You can send me money in the mail to get rid of it. It doesn't matter. It's still there in ink.
Gotcha.
It's so needed. It's gonna cut like 10% of the editing that Danny has to do. Listen, it's pretty simple. Like Duke is by far the best team in college basketball. Like they've been rolling. Like it's been so obvious. Sometimes there is just like free money that exists. Sometimes the answer is right in front of you. And
Duke is not UConn of last year, guys.
you
I'm
can
sorry.
have, sometimes
I think
it's sitting
they
right-
are.
Sometimes
I'm going to come back to Cantu's point. Cantu said they have 5 of the top 50 players on one team.
They got 4 fucking freshmen, please.
Mike, that doesn't mean they're still
So
not good.
I was going to come back to that. I think this is a more obvious thing.
But
and
I like
the-
Duke and the over on the player, obviously.
Okay. That's two of the lucky bettors against the unlucky bettor who hates it. Cantu.
Yeah, so it's the
I
point I've
think
been
Duke's
making on the
gonna
last
win.
one.
I think they're going to win. I just think you guys think
He thinks they're
going
going
to
to win by
crush.
3. See, he's hedging it. He's hedging it because when they win
I
by
don't-
8,
they don't
he's like,
have
I told
to
you they
win.
won.
May I
They don't have to
Mike.
win. I'm just saying, you guys, it's going to be a close game.
Okay.
Mike, may I speak?
You can bet all the alt lines with me. You want to lay 8, 9, 10?
Yes.
Whatever, I'll give you all the numbers.
Yes,
give you all
I'll
the
text
numbers.
you.
You can bet them all with me. Go look. Tell me the alt lines. I'll book them.
All right.
I'll text you.
All right.
All right, go
So
ahead. Go ahead,
this is such an obvious pick of Duke minus 4.5.
Obvious.
This is an obvious.
peg. Square
I've-
peg
I've
number 3.
explained-
The obvious.
Let me finish, Mike. So, as I said before, they have like 3 of the top 12 picks and 5 of like the top 50 picks, draft picks coming in the next draft. It's absolutely amazing. It is like the UConn teams. It's so obvious and it's right in front of our faces. All you have to do is bet it. It's like how Mike always refuses to bet the Chiefs every playoffs, and refuse. It's the same type of logic.
Chiefs, they were
Just let it
wonderful all
happen.
year.
Duke, I think there's still some 4.5, but it might all be 5.
Okay, so Mike, just for the record, it did hit 5.5 last night. Unfortunately, I bet 5.5. Now it's 5. I'm going to bet more. It's going to be a big play for me. All right, so let's go GRP wins. We're going to go to you for your picks. Now, you said you want to do it on the NFL draft. That sounds fun.
How about this? Let's do NFL futures next season because the draft bets have already kind of matured and you can't get the number. So here's 2 bets that the viewers can get right now when the show's over.
What GRP wins? Let me just say this. When it comes to NFL, are you talking about NFL futures over-under? So
Correct.
Futures,
Win
futures,
props,
yeah.
total wins. Exactly.
Okay,
Yes.
I've won 11 years in a row at that.
I believe you.
And there's documentation. No, I'll send you an article. They tracked it. It's for some reason we've killed that. That's the one thing we've killed as a podcast is futures. So you're speaking our language, GRP wins. Go.
All right, well, great. Then I'm going to value your opinion on my 2 bets. It's very simple. The numbers came out last week. So I have the Giants under 5.5 wins, below average talent. They have no quarterback. The coach has all this stress on him. look at the division. Even the Cowboys, they're at least an average team. So I have the Giants under 5.5 wins, and I have the Vikings over 8.5 wins. Last year, they only lost 4 games. Yes, they're going to have a rookie quarterback, but I think this JJ, and I'm not a big JJ fan either, but you know what? I think they go 10-7 easy. They got a good coach. They got great talent everywhere. I think so those are the 2 things that just shot out at me. And so those are my 2 bets. Giants under 5.5, Vikings over 8.5. We'll see what happens.
Okay, I love the Vikings over 8.5, and I think Homer Woodley also likes it. Woodley?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's a really, we were talking a little bit before the show began, but I actually, I know there's like a lot of questions around Mike, we don't need your schedule breakdown right now, please. We can do that later, like in months. I can't go through. I can't do that. Mike likes to take every game and talk about if they'll win or lose.
Like he knows what they're going to win or lose. Right.
Yeah, he knows. And
I fucking broke down the fucking Chiefs, who they played dog shit opponents all year, and they were going to get killed in the Super Bowl, and they got killed in the Super Bowl.
Mike
they got lucky against Houston because their fucking special teams missed 2 free field goals, a missed punt, a fucking
Mike,
whatever. They got outplayed in that game too.
Mike, you liked the Chiefs to win like 9 or 10 games last year. How many did they win?
And
I didn't. I had them over, but I fucking said they're going under this year.
Okay,
they're going under this year.
Their numbers 11.5.
Back to the Vikings.
I love the under this year.
I know there's questions about the quarterback, but Kevin O'Connell is like a quarterback whisperer. I mean, look what he did. He made Kirk Cousins have his best year ever, and he made Sam Darnold, who was like left for dead, legitimately be a Pro Bowl quarterback last year, right? Until it fell apart in the playoffs. I think it's like that article came out recently that Aaron Rodgers was like begging the Vikings to bring him on. He was like letting them, he's like, you can bring me on 1 year, like 12 million, 15 million, whatever. It was like a low number. He wanted to play there. He was like calling them up, doing this. And they had conversations around it, but it ultimately came down to, O'Connell feels this strongly about McCarthy. And like, yeah, McCarthy's never played an NFL game, which is troublesome, or, there's out there, but like O'Connell, like this is how he worked his way up in the Rams by being a quarterback guru. Like he was a quarterback, and now at the Vikings. So I really trust his valuation of McCarthy. And now, like again, yeah, he's effectively still a rookie, so it's tough for them to win in the NFL, but it's a really good team outside of that. I mean, you have the best, I would argue, wide receiver room in the league with Jefferson, Addison. You just have to get the ball close to them. They got Aaron Jones. They went out and got Mason from the Niners. So all of a sudden, they kind of almost have this like top 10 running game. They fixed the O-line. They got 2 All-Pro linemen, and they fixed the defense. I mean, they've spent more money in free agency than any other team on just like really solid impact players. So I love over 8.5. You're like, Mike's going to call me a homer and all this, but I like them across the board for all their futures. I like them to win the division as well, because, everybody's still like heavy, Detroit is still the favorite there at plus 135, but the Vikings are like plus 450. Like, again, this is a team that they played week 18 for the division versus Detroit. I don't know, like Detroit, like they could definitely take that step back. And so I love this pick. I mean, it's a homer pick, whatever, it's going to win. Love it. And under Giants, I'll comment real quickly. I like that too. I mean, that's a mess. I don't know why they brought that coach back. They kind of need to fully tank another year and just rebuild around like Neighbors and whatever the hell they have left. They don't have anything besides Neighbors, in my opinion. So
no, I agree. The Giants should tank, because the next year in the draft, there's 2 or 3 great quarterbacks. And you know what? You got to bite the bullet for a year. But the problem is, if you're the coach and the GM, these guys are like on their 3rd year, they're going to lose their job. So you got to have a close relationship with your owner if you tank, because everyone's got to know what's going on. But I totally agree. If I'm the Giants, I get a position player and I tank.
Yeah. I'm going to say to you guys, I am not a Russell Wilson fan, but somehow this fucking scumbag piece of shit losing awful Pittsburgh team cost me infinite money, because they won 10 games. I had under 8.5, right? They got the miracle wins early, and then I jumped on them when I thought they were good, and I bet them 5 weeks in a row, and they went 0-5 and got crushed, right? So when I finally jumped on them, just like I jumped on his fucking homer-ass Minnesota team the last 3 weeks, they got crushed, right? But I know you guys will laugh, whatever, but there's a reason why it's 8.5. I mean, their schedule is brutal. They play at home against the Bears, the Lions, the Packers, the Eagles, Washington, the Ravens, fucking Cincinnati, and
Mike, it
Atlanta.
is way too easy for a schedule breakdown.
I mean, that's a fucking pretty tough schedule at home, right? And then on the road, they play the Bears, the Lions, the Packers, Dallas on the road, the Giants, that's an easy win. The Steelers, that depends. If Rodgers plays good there, that's going to be tough to play in Pittsburgh, right? In Cleveland, that should be a win. At Seattle, Seattle sucks, but that's going to be tough.
Mike, we got
in Seattle.
Let's not do
and
the
then at the
schedule yet.
Chargers. So I'm just saying that's a really tough schedule. But I agree. I think they'll win 9 games.
So after all that, you're on the over.
After all that speech.
Cantu?
No, but I'm just saying it's not like they won 14. They had the second easiest schedule in the NFL last year, and now you look at that schedule and like last year we went
Mike,
over on
what
the Ravens because we felt like they were an all-time great team, even though they had the toughest schedule,
Am I
and they
crazy?
went over.
Hold on one second.
You
Hold on.
understand what I'm saying?
Have the NFL schedules even come out yet? What is Mike reading?
No.
They haven't
Yes,
even
they
come
have.
out.
Oh, they came out. They came out a couple months ago.
Brandon.
What do you think? What do you think
For
they
the
just have?
2025?
What do you think they just have over/unders without a schedule?
No, Brandon,
idiot?
when Mike he's correct. He's
thought they did.
just reading the opponents. The day after the regular season ends, the day after, they know the exact opponents every away and home game.
Oh, you know the opponents, but you don't know when
No,
and
of course
where.
not. They don't know that, but
Yeah.
they know the opponents.
Right.
Right,
then they
that's
put
what
it
I was
out.
saying.
Yeah,
Yes. So it's not really out. It's
Right.
It's like a soft schedule. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm just going to say this. I'm going to segue, just a quick segue, and then I'm going to go to your opinion on this, Cantu. And Mike also owes us Giants. So I am an investor in this company called Fast Break AI, and they do the schedule for the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, every league in the world. And they've gotten it down where they can do an entire schedule with their new software that they paid $3.5 million for in 18 minutes. So in the past, the NFL would have like 3 people sitting in a room for like 100 days. Oh, we forgot this. Oh, we forgot that. And always a problem. And now, so I can also tell you this is kind of interesting to me. The NBA has 1,000 parameters around their schedule each year. So it's kind of cool. Fast Break AI is ascending. But it's kind of cool that they can do a whole schedule in 18 minutes now. I thought you guys would find that fascinating. Cantu, what do you think of the Vikings? Is it a unanimous over 8.5 pick for our podcast?
This is going to be a unanimous pick, and I'm really glad that George picked these two. These are two of my favorite teams to talk about right now. I'm going to agree with both of them on the under. I'm going to start with the Giants because I have less to say there. They have my favorite player in the NFL, Russell Wilson, which is a hot topic. And I am so disappointed that he went to the Giants. There's just not much hope. Yeah, neighbors can make you look good for a minute or two. I just don't think there's enough there. There's not enough pieces. There's not enough to work with. I think it's going to be a long, long season for him. I'm hoping the best for him. Love that pick first. Second, Vikings over 8.5. That is my favorite on the board. I said all year last year, I am not a Darnold fan. I am a wide receiving core of the Vikings fan. That those guys just throw it in the area. They
How
get
about
open.
their defense is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I only care about their offense and the quarterback for right now because as Woodley said, they filled some holes. The quarterback situation with Darnold leaving, I think we're about to see that they're going to be right back around that 14-3, 13-4. I don't think there's alternate overs on wins. I think Detroit's going to be really good. It's going to be a tough division, just like last year. I think it's going to look
the
very
only thing
similar.
that catches me a little bit on this is like they're saying that McCarthy might not be ready the first 3 or 4 weeks, which is if that happens, I think all bets are off because like Woodley did say, Rodgers wants to go to Minnesota. I mean, can you blame him? Can you blame him?
And here's why.
With that receiving core and
Mike,
that
let me
defense, I mean, I'd want to go there too.
I would say the reason I don't is because O'Connell has been great working with these shitty quarterbacks. I mean, we used to always talk about Josh Dobbs like he somehow made Josh Dobbs look good. Nick Mullins look good for a minute. He really has made anyone look good. I don't even care if McCarthy's not ready for a few weeks. I still like it over. I just think they're that good everywhere that
I like
someone
both
can fill
picks,
in.
too.
If he's not ready to start the season, then they're going to bring in Rodgers. I mean, that's like the reality of the situation. But there's nothing to indicate whatsoever that that's the case. So
This is how much I like the Vikings pick. I just texted my Las Vegas bookie to get the number down because I believe
Is he the one that hasn't paid us, or is that a different guy?
he does owe me some shekels. He did
this is
say
the
he was
wrong
gonna pay me.
show for this.
He said he was going to pay me 20. He said he was going to pay me 20,000 tomorrow, but we don't mention names.
Well, I have to bring it up for a reason because this guy fucking stiffed us for like me for 5,000, Phil for 15. He's like, oh, he's a nice guy. He follows our bets. I go, no, he's a bookie and he's scamming you. And now he owes Phil like 60,000. Oh, never mind. He owes Phil a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Mike is still mad. Mike is still mad because of the
I was right.
Well, of the incident that happened. You guys remember a few years ago where the Bengals win did not count. Remember that? Like the Bengals over.
No, they already had 12.5 wins locked up
you remember
before
that,
the Bills
George?
game.
That's where the Bengals didn't play all 16
And the guy didn't want to
games.
pay us because they didn't play 16 games.
It's the DeMar Hamlin game where they
Right.
canceled the game and then the books voided. Most
No,
books
one
actually get
book voided. Only one book voided.
So
it, by
Mike,
the way.
do you want to
Circa
bet?
paid.
Do you want to bet 10,000 on whether it was only one book? Because
It doesn't matter. All fucking off bookies that are not fucking casino bookies fucking paid. Okay.
It's funny you guys mentioned that
We need to
game.
get Mike on Elf Spaces.
Yeah, 'cause
What's that?
I had on that year, I had the Bears to be the worst defense in the league, meaning they give up the most points. I risked 1,000.
Yeah.
I won 25,000. That was 2 years ago. But I was worried about that exact situation that technically, and I'll say something nice. It was the Rivers Casino, Rivers, which is run by Canby. I was scared that they were going to say, we're not going to pay you because of that one game. But I was so clearly a winner that they still, they paid the bet. They didn't pull that shot.
Well, so were we. We had over 11 and already had 13 wins.
Right.
Right. And the guy stiffed us. I said the guy's a
that's
piece
not
of
right.
shit.
Yeah, that's
and now he's stiff Phil.
Yeah,
so.
But
I was right again.
Technically, it was the rules. That's why,
Right, yeah.
of course, that one is.
Technically.
That's
No,
why there was a big.
It's a bookie who
debate.
tries to fuck you. That's why they're called
Yeah.
bookies. Bookies are scumbags.
well, it's interesting, Mike, because I believe that every public-facing bookie did not pay that bet, and they did not charge people who lost the under. That's what I believe. But you're saying all the private bookies,
Yeah,
but
dude.
should just go out on the limb and pay everybody.
Well, of course
You're
they're
right
gonna
about
pay
one
everybody.
thing, Mike. It cost me $10,000 or $15,000. Now, if we can just move on
Cost
from
me
that.
more than that because I refuse to fucking bet with you again or any of your guys the last fucking year or two, whatever.
That's
it's been.
right, Mike.
Save you.
Because
No,
to
Woodley,
me,
Woodley.
I'd rather lose money than be with somebody that stiffs somebody.
Woodley, I got to tell you how much money I've made on the over. But we've talked about this. We've documented the one thing that the GRP wins can come back and look at the podcast is, and you can look at my record. I've won a lot of money every single year on the over-unders. Mike, because this bookie decided not to pay, decided to leave our team.
Your bookie, not mine.
Decided to leave our team of players and somehow managed to pick the losers every year and lose money every year.
Okay. Philadelphia, this guy's two best picks on over-unders last year. Oh, let's see. The favorite, Detroit. Oh, the favorite, the Ravens. They didn't have any injuries. Oh, my loss by one game was the fucking
Lions
Minnesota,
the
fucking
Lions
Miami, and Miami had
Lions-
no Tua for 6 games. So
Mike,
go
I was
Lions had
lucky.
50
I was
guys.
lucky again for the
Fuck you.
11th year in a
Fuck
row.
off.
Lucky.
Fuck off.
The Lions
Please.
had 40 guys on IR.
Right.
Like, how can you say the Lions got lucky? That entire fucking team was a mash
Oh, the
unit.
whole defense went down. They were already fucking 13, 12, and fucking 1 when the
You're,
last 4 weeks they lost their defense.
But Mike, whoever
You
bet
said on
over,
your-
They lost their defense their last 4 weeks. They were already over the 11 and a half wins.
but Mike,
buddy.
whoever bet over Detroit last year, which I did, they were dead right. Why does a person have to
10 and a half.
apologize for?
The line was 10.5,
Right,
Mike.
it was, I had over 10 and a half.
I agree.
Exactly.
That was one of my winners. I had over Detroit last
But Mike,
year.
people don't have to
Okay.
apologize if you pick a favorite and win. The guy clearly was on the right side of the bet.
No, but every year, but like every year when this idiot has the two favorites, and then the two favorites win and have no injuries, and I have the two other favorites, and my quarterback gets knocked out for 6 games, and he's all like, well, you're an idiot, and I'm a fucking genius. That's all I'm saying.
Mike.
Just say Mike, you know what? You had the right side on Miami.
Mike.
If Tua wouldn't have got knocked out for 6 games,
Mike,
you would have won.
lately-
You'd have won one more game, I promise.
Lately, I've
You
just
know?
been calling you an unlucky better. You're an unlucky
Mike,
better. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Unlucky.
The air quotes. Phil loves the air
well,
quotes.
by the way-
He's an expert at the air quotes.
By the way, Danny, we need to put this down. Those were 2 consensus picks, I believe, with Giants and the
Wow.
Vikings.
I did not agree with the Giants. I'm leaving. I'm going to go neutral on that.
I definitely agree with the Giants. I mean, fucking the Eagles, the Washington are going to be, I think they're going to be all-time great teams. I think they're both going to win like 13 or 14. Then Dallas is going to win at least 8 to 10. But I don't see the Giants. I think they're going to go 0-6 in the division. I don't know who they're playing, but like 0-6 in the division means they have to win 6 games out of the division.
Right.
Good luck.
Exactly.
Okay, Woodley, let's come to you for your 2 picks.
I was enthralled there. Why don't you go to Cantu for his picks, right?
Okay,
And
wait.
come back to
First
me.
of all, Woodley, what hat do you have on?
Minnesota Wild.
Minnesota. This is the biggest Minnesota homer you've ever seen. GRP wins. Cantu, give us
When
some
they
picks.
start losing, he'll be like, I'm just
I
unlucky.
watched. So Auburn, I think, they have looked really bad in this tournament, but they do keep winning. But the other team looks way worse. I just haven't seen that much from Auburn. I think Florida, arguably the best team in the country, right there with Duke. I think we're gonna have the super chalk final, and I think Florida wins real big, like 15-20. I like some alternate overs, as Mike likes to bet.
Hey,
What do you guys
Mike,
think?
if you bet the alternate in the Super Bowl, because it's funny, I was this close. To doing it, and you would have like Philly minus 9.5 was like 4 to 1.
Listen to this. I told them all to bet all the alternate lines, but instead, you know what I did? I had 3,000. I had Kansas City under 17.5, getting 3.5 to 1. Look at this beat I take. I mean, this is like the worst beat ever, by the way.
Mike, you already had your rant, Mike. So do you agree with it? Do you agree? So let's go with Cantu's pick.
So first off, that's my number 1, and my number 2 was Duke. So I'm going to copy Phil on the Duke.
We already
and
talked
number
about
1.
Duke. We all like Duke. Mikey, what do you make of Cantu's second pick? He likes Florida minus 2.5 over Auburn.
I mean, I like Florida to win it all. Okay, so I'm gonna agree with him on this, but the way he described like the Auburn was struggling, like going into the Sweet 16, not really struggling, but a lot of they came in a tournament struggling, and even that last game they were down big, right, and then they came back and had the huge run at the end, and then the one thing I noticed, I didn't know this, that everybody on Auburn is 22 to 25 years old. They're all like, I thought they were all young, that they got them out of the portal. They were all young. No, these are all like people they got out of the portal. They're all like seniors. Every one of them will be a senior or super senior. So like, I saw that, and now I understand why Auburn was the number 1 overall seed going into the tournament. But I'm not going to back down now. I have Florida winning it. Why change it now? I mean, but it's going to not. I don't agree with you. It's going to be alt lines and shit. They're going to be lucky if they win.
Woodley?
No, I like Florida in it. I mean, they're just they're so calm, cool, and collected. I mean that I think it was against Michigan, right? That they was that who did they come back against? Was that Michigan?
Texas Tech.
Oh, Texas Tech. Yeah, I know. You're right, Texas Tech. Yeah, I mean that's right. Yeah, Michigan was the other one. Yeah, I mean Texas Tech. I mean like monumental, just meltdown by them. Period. God. But dude, Florida, like they never showed any. I don't know. It was crazy. They're down like 9, and they didn't show any panic, and it was just like hit a three, and they ended up winning that game by like 4 or 5, I think too. Like
they won by 5. I laid 7. Yeah.
Yeah, they almost covered. I was actually. I mean, that's like college basketball for you. I like Florida. I actually, not to get too off topic, but like I'm still in that the Splash Survivor contest. I have like 2 entries left, and I think I'm gonna set it up where one of them.
Splash.
Yeah, where one of them. I'm gonna have one where Duke wins it all, and the other one's gonna be Florida because it's gonna chop like about 800, 900 ways if Duke wins it all. But if Florida wins it all, it might only chop like 200 ways. So it's almost like you're almost getting like 5-1 on the money there, and you know, you're not talking about a ton. But anyways, yeah, I like Florida. I think they're the better team. I think the Florida Duke championship game. Listen, for all this like bitching and moaning from Mike about chalk winning and other people, right? Like, oh, the NIL, this, that. It's just sometimes like the best teams advance. This Final Four should be like really, really good. Like, as fun as it is to see like a 11 seed like North Carolina State make the Final Four, those teams always get blown out in the Final Four. These should be really good games. And if we get Duke Florida National Championship, that's a really good game. And I actually we'll talk, I guess we won't talk about it. But if it gets down to that, I think that's like the game of the year. I think that's actually a really good game. I think Florida is like the one team that can kind of hang with Duke there. So yeah, I like Florida a lot here.
Okay,
Who would be
I'm
the
going to
favorite
say
in the final.
Mike,
by the
Mike,
way?
Mike, you
That's all
already
I wanna know.
commented.
I
Okay,
think so
so
too.
you reminded me of my rant, Woodley. So Splash Sports, great site. They're killing it. Everybody's going there. Love it. And so I entered this contest like you. I only had 5 picks. And it turns out that in the final 2 games I was filming all last week, great shows, having a lot of fun, and I accidentally closed myself out. Even though I picked 3 of the final 4 in the final 4, I accidentally, it's not that complicated. You just have to pick 1 from each side. So you save 1 for the final. And I'm like, yes, I saved Duke for the final. I'm going to win for sure if Duke just wins this, and I just need it. And I somehow bet on the wrong side, and I forgot that's a thing. I will say this, Woodley, and don't argue with me on air, please. But I told you that a lot of people would close themselves out stupidly. You said, no, they wouldn't. And you said, no, they wouldn't. And 1,600 people closed themselves out stupidly, including Phil twice. Fuck. I like Florida.
Wait.
Woodley, I don't want to argue with you.
That's 1,600. Where do you get the 1,600? There's still 1,600. Here's the availability right here. See, like you can see what everybody has left.
Okay, so how many people closed themselves out? Because you said nobody. 800?
Well, I said, no. According to this, less than 80.
Okay, I don't believe that. I'll have to see the stats, but we'll argue later.
Oh, Phil, overstating the stats. Oh, Phil, what does he always make fun of me for? Oh, Mike over-exaggerating. Oh, there goes Phil over-exaggerating. Oh, times 10. Oh, that's a little bit more than I over-exaggerate. I only do it like times 2.
No, I think...
you know what's the problem with it, though?
Woodley's saying something. I don't want to get... I told you I didn't want to argue about this, but Woodley can't help himself. So
well,
now
I'm going to have to... you about it.
No, then I'm going to... Okay, so Woodley... So this is what we're going to do. You said 80 people in the entire contest closed themselves out. Okay, right. You said 80.
At this point.
And you showed me the screen. Okay, so I want you to give us our 2 picks, and I'm going to go look at the screen and see what number I come up with. But I didn't want to spend any time on this, on the Splash Sports. But go ahead, Woodley. It's your time for your 2 picks.
Yeah. I was actually defending you on this because, like, when you were doing the contest, it was grouping them in a weird way where it actually made it look like that Houston and Duke were on the wrong side. I actually had to go look at the bracket because the way I had it mapped in the thing, it actually looked like Houston was going to play Duke in the final. And I caught that. I actually caught that like last minute, and I almost blocked myself out there as well. Yeah. My two picks. Going back to NASCAR, we had a good NASCAR weekend last weekend. They're going to Darlington this weekend. Instead of just picking a winner, I'm going to pick one I really like. It's Brad Keselowski to finish top 10 at plus 130. He's had kind of a slow start to the year, but he's one of the best Darlington drivers out there. He's like one of the best drivers every year out there. He owns his team now. Getting top 10, he should be able to get top 10 pretty easily. And I don't know why that number's so far down there. So I doubt we're going to get too in depth on this one. My second one is actually a combination of all 3 years. I mean, I really like Duke. I obviously really like the Vikings over 8.5. I'll give you another. I'll do one for George because I want to hear George giving some analysis on this. I did really well with the Jets under last year. I'm going to take them over this year 5.5. because 5.5 is a very small number. Everything that could go wrong went wrong for the Jets last year, frankly. I'm not a big Justin Fields guy, but they're probably going to draft a guy too. There's just a lot of talent on that team where they should be able to get 6, 7, 8 wins. I mean, they could. That's not a very good division either.
The guy he hates the worst is no longer on the team, so now he goes over. Go ahead.
Well, it's 5.5, Mike. I mean, if you ask me if it was 7.5, I'd say under. But like, I don't think it's that difficult to win 6 games in the NFL in that division, right? You have Buffalo and a bunch of crap. Miami's not good. New England's not good. And they'll find the wins.
You know what? I agree with you. I think 7 and 10 with that talent, and I like their new coach, Aaron Glenn from Detroit. It seems like he has an it factor. It seems like he knows what he's doing, and they have talent. And again, you're right, Justin Fields. You know, I'm not a big Justin Fields guy either, but he can put it together. He could be an average player. They can win 7 games easy. There's no doubt about it. In that division, in Buffalo, I'm a big Josh Allen fan, but outside of Josh Allen, I got news for you. The talent on that team is average at best. It's not a talented team.
I agree.
And they surprised me last year, and I totally agree with you. Jets can easily go 7 and 10 and you make money. No doubt about it.
Agree.
Mike, you agree also?
I don't know nothing about NASCAR, so I pass on that. But I think that well, you never know that Tua's probably, if he gets another concussion, his career is over. New England is going all out. Like they're signing everyone in free agency. They're going all out to like have a winning year next year. So they're going to be a lot tougher. I thought that the Bills defense was horrible in the playoffs, and it showed against the Kansas City last year. Josh Allen, I think he's the best quarterback in the league, but I might be wrong. But I'll go Jets over 5.5. I agree.
Jets over 5.5. And by the way, I already texted my bookie to find out the number for the Minnesota, and I already bet $5,000 on Vikings over 8.5. George, GRP wins. I'm going to kill you if I lose. And no, no, I would love to send you. If I do win, I'm going to send you I'm going to get your address and send you a little $500 bottle of something or another. Cantu, what do you make of the Jets over 5.5? Mike, please interrupt him only 4 times.
I like it.
Phil,
It
4 times.
It is talent.
4 times. Only 4.
I agree. It's just too talented of a roster. I'm not going to say too much on this. I am not a Justin Fields guy, but if you use him right and you use him as a workhorse, as running like an old 30s, 40s style offense, and he runs a lot. When he was in Pittsburgh, if he does that, they're going to be tough to beat, but he could get hurt.
Okay, so it seems like that's a unanimous pick, 5.5, Woodley. Well done. We're not going to comment on the NASCAR because none of us know enough about that. And by the way, I have
my picks. I haven't made a pick yet, Phil.
Sorry, Mike.
I got to ask Mike a question. Mike, when's the last time you made a bet, it lost, and you deserved to lose? Like, when were you dead wrong?
When was I dead wrong? You really want to know when I was dead
wrong?
Never. You could say I could have won the game, but I think I was dead wrong on Denver yesterday, laying the 3.5.
Mike picks the most recent game in sports. Get out of here.
You said when. This comes to my mind. If Russell Westbrook makes that fucking layup, then they're gonna call timeout, go down, shoot a 3, miss and foul, and I could have got a miracle win. But I was dead wrong. I don't think I really ever had a chance to win the game.
Mike,
that was yesterday.
Mike, you told us when Denver was up 11 with 7 minutes to go. This is what you told our whole chat stream. And we can pull this up. You said Minnesota was completely dead. That's what you told us.
When Denver's up 11 with 7 minutes to go, you know what the live line was, buddy? The live line was like 8.5. Okay.
So you don't think you deserve to lose that? So you don't think you deserve to lose?
No, they went on a 17-2 run to open the quarter, but I thought Minnesota controlled the game the rest of the game except for that first 4 minutes of the quarter.
This is the power of the notebook. The power of the notebook. See, if we asked him this, he would have pulled from like 1994 some pick he made.
So
but
here are my 2 picks.
He can't hide anymore, so he's telling the truth.
Here are my 2 picks, and I'm going to break
this man.
Here are my 2 picks. I'm going to break them down. Why? Okay, my number 1 pick today is the Indiana Pacers winner of 9 of 12. They just came off a game that I had bet them against OKC, which OKC shellacked them. They put up 162 the game before against the Wizards. They lost the heartbreaker to the Lakers the game before, and then they won 6 in a row the game before. The Hornets are on a back-to-back. They won yesterday against the Wizards. The Pacers haven't played in like 2 days or 3 days, and now they're laying 15.5 at home. They're going to win this game by 25. I guarantee it. Okay, that's my
Mike,
number.
don't say guarantee. Don't say guarantee, Mike.
That's my number 1 pick. That's my number 1 pick. And my number 2 pick.
Mike is laying 15.5. That's historic.
But I'm telling you, I'm telling you why. I'm breaking it down for you.
Sounds like a square peg pick to me,
the
doesn't
number
it,
2
George?
pick is also in the NBA, and it's also laying a big number. Okay, the number 2 pick is the Thunder going against Cade Cunningham is out for the Pistons. Okay, and the Thunder are now on the verge of being only the 3rd team in history to win 70 games. And the way they're playing and their schedule is pretty soft, everybody thinks that they're going to do it. And I think they're going to do it also, because I think they're an all-time great team that is going to win the championship. I am that convinced of it. And so their average win total on the year, margin of victory, is 12.9, which is the highest in NBA history. And now I'm laying basically that number against the Pistons, who is missing their best player. And both
Cunningham's out?
Chalks,
Is Cunningham
he's been
out?
He's got a calf injury.
Because he was awesome. I watched him. Oh boy, he's awesome. All right, Mike.
And so
Continue.
those are my those are my 2 picks.
I
Go
have
ahead,
to go
Cantu.
next, Phil. Hornets Pacers. I have absolutely no opinion on who's going to win this game, but I have a pick on this game. I don't know what's going to happen. Mike guaranteed the Pacers. I guarantee the Hornets, just because whenever Mike guarantees something, he loses. I'm going Hornets. I love Hornets. I even like some Hornets money line. I'm going to be betting that myself. I swear to God, I'm betting Hornets money line myself, just so I can come
Ball
on
got
here
shut
and laugh
down for
about
the
this.
year. Last game.
Thunder.
And then
hold on 1 second. And on the Thunder Pistons, I am going Pistons just because Mike is guaranteeing that pick, and I'm going to be putting some Pistons money line on that as well.
I've been doing pretty damn good.
Those are
my
my 2 picks.
So you did the anti-Mike, which, by the way, the
I went
anti-Mike's probably
anti-Mike.
up. Anti-Mike's probably up 15 bets in our podcast. Woodley, thoughts? I hate to say it, but I just bet both of Mikey's picks, which makes me very sad. But he hasn't said guarantee in a while. Woodley, what do you got?
I mean, dude, George has Mike completely twisted. It's like a 180 here. He's actually admitting to losses, and now he's like doing the most square thing ever, which is taking like massive favorites in basketball or any sport.
When there's 10 games to go in the season, this is what they do if you just watch.
Okay. I mean, Mike, dude, if you took any NFL team more than like 6 points, he would call you the square of all squares. But now he's taking what, 16 in a regular season game? 16 in the regular season game.
Okay, you want a dog? You could take the Spurs plus 9.5 against Denver.
No.
Denver's coming off a double overtime
Mike,
brutal loss.
You made your picks. Let us talk.
I want Charlotte,
I gave you my top
and I want Charlotte, and I definitely want Detroit. I had nothing to add on Charlotte other than just like I want to go against you on that one, and that's a big number. I think Detroit actually, Cade's out, but that team's pretty spicy, dude. I mean, I watched that. The Timberwolves Pistons game. Now that it's getting, I'm watching all the Timberwolves games as it's getting closer to the
Detroit
the
without
playoffs.
Cade crushed them. I saw it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they almost had Malice at the Palace version 2.0. And did you see? Yeah. Isaiah Stewart is a scumbag. You see what that guy did? He was like, he grabbed the dude's nuts, dude. I mean, that's fucking Bush League. Like, can you believe that?
He's out too.
Yeah,
and
he should
they're
be out.
missing. Didn't they get 3 guys suspended? So not only is Cade out, but like
Yeah, Isaiah, but it's a good team. They show fight. I mean, like they show fight a little too much.
No, they're a good team. I didn't say
I
that.
think it's there. I think Oklahoma City will win, but they're kind of on cruise control. I mean, I know this like 70 wins
Cruise
thing.
control. They just won like 9 in a row by an average of 25 points a game or something.
No,
like
it's still cruise control. Like they're on these games are meaningless for them. They've got the number
They
one seed
want to
locked
win
up, they'll win
70,
it.
dude. They want to be considered one of the best teams of all time.
Okay, I didn't say they won't win, but I'm saying like 13.5's a lot. Like they're gonna have to start
13.
slowing down a bit for the playoffs and stuff. And I think the only thing they have, like the only really interesting thing about that is like, yeah, sure, the 70 win plateau thing, but like I don't know, like, do you want to go for 70 wins? Like, didn't Golden State kind of run into an issue when they did that? I know the injuries and stuff, but
They did.
And then number 2, SG, and then it's like, I guess the MVP race is still open, due to last night. So I guess SGA is still playing for that, but it's just 50 points, dude. And I can't believe you're doing this, Mike. Like you would never do this. This is
This
bizarre
is a
world.
square.
George has you.
Yeah.
Are you
George
kneeling?
has
I
you
mean,
blender.
Mike, are you
I've been
kneeling
do- I've
before
been-
GRP wins?
I've been going against the teams that have quit. Okay. And like Charlotte played yesterday and lost to the Wizards, who fucking had lost like 29 in a row or something like that. I really love Indiana. I've gone against OK. I went against OKC. Is my biggest NBA bet of the year 2 games ago. Okay, they had won 7 of 8. Indiana. The only loss they had was to the heartbreaker against the fucking Lakers.
Mike, don't start talking about what you
did
did in the past.
OKC without Holmgren beat the fucking shit out of them by like 25.
Mike, let's hear
this
GRP
defense.
wins, Mike. We've been hearing a lot
A
from
simple
you.
wild card. No one ever talks about the LA Clippers. And, do they have a chance?
Oh, I like that.
Do they have a
too.
chance to make? I got 40-1 that they make the NBA Finals. Do I have a chance?
I love
I think
it.
I have a chance.
Ooh,
Yes.
I like that.
Yes, they do. They're really, really good. I was thinking about making them one of my top 3 picks today, again as a big favorite against a team that quit. But they did and this as an NBA handicapper. When you come off a long road trip that's successful in that first home game, you kind of like lay down a little bit. And that's why the only reason, and they're 17.5, but that's the only reason why I didn't take them today. But they are really good. Kawhi Leonard is playing he might be the 3rd best player in the NBA the way he's playing right now, behind Joker and SGA, and nobody's seeing it. But Kawhi Leonard, who was a top 2 player in the NBA till he got injured, he's 100% top 5 player in the NBA right now, and you can book it. I like that pick.
And they have
a
a good coach, and I bet it like a month ago at 40-1. I just want to get lucky, and maybe OKC has an injury. They get to the finals, and I win. I got 500 on it. It's real money. I win 20,000.
What do they won? 10 out of 12,
Something like
and
that,
their wins have all been big.
No one's talking about them. They got a shot. I'm not.
No, they got a shot. I agree.
And you made a great point. There's an old system when an NBA team is on the road, like for 5, 6, 7 games. The first game back, it's just common sense. They gotta go see the girlfriend, go to the bank. They have to do stuff. They have to run errands. They always have a bad game the first game back after a long road trip.
Yeah.
I did sophisticated data in 40. I haven't handicapped the NBA in years, but 40 years ago, I actually documented that exact system. But I believe it's become known now. People know about it, that it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that number's pretty big today. So
First of all,
60-1.
Go ahead, Cantu.
I was going to say it's 60-1 for the Pistons and Hornets parlay to come in. I'm going to put a little on that, but go ahead. Sorry.
I want to say this, guys. GRP Wins has fit into this podcast really well. We're going to definitely have him back. We love having you here, GRP. You also know to rile up Mike, but in a respectful way.
Exactly.
You also know
Yeah.
to let us talk.
He's not an asshole like you, guys.
I'm waiting for this next segment because George is going to go over. Can we go to the next segment now?
Yeah. Cantu,
Okay,
lead.
I kind of want to. I want to lead, and this is really special, George. I was telling him, and I'm going to give you the greatest compliment. And Phil didn't believe me last night, but I know Woodley can back me up. You're my favorite Twitter follow right now. That is the truth. Who do I like to go to? He brings a lot of humor. He talks sports. I get engaged. Like when he had the comeback player of the year, he corners the market, and I can't stop watching as he adds another pick. Feels like $1,000 to win like $150,000, and it's kind of fun to watch as the season comes along. He got robbed on that. He got robbed 2 years ago, but there's a lot of things that he does, and he's very. You guys got to follow him. He's very fun to watch, and I'm about to get into
GRP Wins. At GRP Wins.
Yes.
Cantu.
So now what he has decided to do for us, and I'm so honored, is because he has a famous notebook. Can you show us the notebook that you document all the picks?
My two NFL win totals documented.
Look how clean this is,
Yeah.
Phil. He does this and he shows this every single time he makes a pick. He brings out the notebook and show Phil multiple pages that you show your audience. Because George is going to be documenting picks for NFL picks for our podcast. He's going to do the whole NFL season. This is a big deal. So when Mike makes a pick, it is documented. He can't say, no, I didn't say that. We're going to come back to the permanent notebook.
Right.
And what I have planned is whenever Mike says he didn't say something, we're gonna have GRP tweet something out.
I just hope next year in the NFL we don't pick on Tuesdays because I'm Brian.
Here we go.
Excuses. He's rattled.
You already got him rattled.
I don't mind switching to Wednesdays next year, Mike. Wednesdays at noon, though.
Right. So I'll just have, let's say week 1 will be 1 page, and I can put, each of the guys you're picking that page, or I can do it by name. So it'll say Phil, and then all of Phil's picks will be on like 5 pages, and then the next guy will find. So we have several months to decide. You guys can each have your own 2 or 3 pages, or we'll have week 1, and each of your picks for all you 5 guys will be on that page. Whatever you guys want to do.
I think we each need to have our own page because like when Mike starts lying and says, oh, I didn't say that 4 weeks ago. I want to go right to the Mike Matusow column and I want to go 4 weeks ago. No, you said this.
To be fair, Mike doesn't lie as much as he gives a pick. Then he listens to all these other people. Then he switches sides.
I look at injuries. You guys were picking on Tuesdays. By Thursdays, half the team that I picked was out, right? So then I tell you guys in the chat that I no longer like that side. I like this side, okay? And I'm off the game.
If you just stuck to your picks, you wouldn't have lost 30 games last year. You would have actually, but you can't help it.
I'm sorry, but NFL is injury-driven, okay? That's where the lines move, and that's why
he lost his mojo. Can you help me get his mojo
It's a major decision. You guys decide. Let's say you do it on Tuesday. You'll get an earlier line, but there could be an injury later. If you do it on Friday, then you're going to complain all the line moves. So it's your guys' call. It doesn't matter to me. Do you want to go early or do you want to go late? You guys decide.
We're going to go on Wednesdays.
We'll go in the middle. Go on Wednesdays.
Hey, buddy, this is one of the things I tell these guys, and it really went against me last year, is when the line moves, when it's a sharp move, I hate betting. If I was on the other side, right, and the sharps move, I just don't want to be against them. But the sharps just got murdered the last 7 weeks of the season, 6 weeks of the season. And all the squares won, and so I got murdered the last 6 weeks of the season because I don't go against the big. You will go broke going against the line moves. You just will.
Mike thinks that the thing we have to tell Mike, and I think this is why him following your notebook is going to be helpful too. There's guys that you'll document your notebook that Mike would swear, like Chernoff, right? Like Mike would think Chernoff's very sharp. Chernoff went like 20 games under 500 with George documenting him.
Well, of course he did. Anybody who had a clue almost lost last year, buddy.
But this is it. But he's not sharp. If you lose that much, you're not sharp. Like you lose your sharp. Like sharp people adjust. Like there's people that won in the NFL. They just adjust. The problem is with Mike and Fezzik and Chernoff is they don't know how to adjust, and they have their models, and they think their models are gonna
I lost
the true
fucking
winners
$6 million betting sports. You know what I bet? I was a fucking square. I bet favorites and over, like a fucking square. Okay, and I learned like 4 years ago or 3 years ago that fucking if you're gonna bet, you cannot win betting favorites. You must fucking pick your spots and pick dogs, and dogs and under are where the money is at. Now, this year in the NFL, they broke every record ever.
Unlucky.
The most overs in NFL history, the most favorites in NFL history. And the first 4 weeks of the season were all fucking unders and we're all fucking dogs. So after the first 4 weeks of the season, which was a record for dogs and fucking under, they still broke the record for favorites and over. For it to end up 68% favorites for the whole year, it must have been like 75% the last 6 weeks.
Here's what I heard you say, Mike. You used to bet favorites and you used to bet over. You would have won 30 bets this year and got $2 million of your money back. But
Good.
no, you adjusted, and finally
you won't
adjusted.
adjust. I've been
You're an unlucky
I've been
better.
watching you for 3 fucking years. All you do is in the chat. You bet. You pick 10 games. You bet 8 favorites and 2 dogs, or 9 favorites and 1 dog. And like you wonder why 2 years ago you were leading the league and running your mouth and you finished dead last because you all you do is pick favorites. So
Mike,
fuck off.
I didn't finish dead last. There's only one person in this chat that finished dead last in the
I didn't
last
finish-
5 years.
I didn't finish dead last
Mike,
year.
I won the league. I won the league literally 6 times in 6 different weeks. So I don't know if you've even cashed, but we do a weekly totals. Ask Gregorich. He's paid me a number of times.
Because you know what? Because you went. There was like 5 weeks
'Cause
last
I'm a
year
lucky
that
vetter.
went 9-1 favorites. But
GRP wins. We need to solve this for
last
us.
year
All right.
was an anomaly.
Mike,
listen to
GRP
this.
wins.
GRP wins. Listen to this, okay?
No,
I'm gonna
Mike,
say
stop,
one more
stop,
time.
stop. Mike,
stop.
Fuck you. I want to
Mike,
say
you
this.
stop
Can you
talking.
mute, Mike?
The over and
Can you
under.
mute?
The
Danny,
lowest
mute Mike,
over and
please.
under.
Mike.
Fuck
Danny,
you.
mute Mike,
No,
please.
Mute him,
fuck
mute him.
you.
Mute him.
Why? Because I'm trying to make 1 point.
No, because you're
Because
going
we
on and
can't
on, Mike.
speak.
1 point.
4.5 was the lowest. 4.5
Danny,
was
we
the
need
lowest
you to
win
Please,
mute
can you
total
mute
last
Mike?
year.
I can't
Immediately.
What?
Thank you. All right,
Okay.
Mike's muted. All right, GRP wins. What we really want to ask you is this. There he goes.
Let the adults talk. With the adults need to talk.
He's the one that left.
You guys are brutal.
GRP wins. Mike always says that when a line moves a lot, it's the sharp money. Is that true or not?
In the NFL, especially, that's not true. And especially if you have a team,
Not true.
you have a team off a win against a loss, the public will always bet the team that looked good last week against the team that looked bad. So if the money's going on the team that won the previous week, many times it's just the public. They're just betting on what they saw. NFL is completely different because there's so much public money that bets the game.
So what you're saying is, because we've always thought Mike was wrong, that when the line moved, it wasn't the sharp money. And you're saying that
When
a lot
it
of
moves
times
to
it's
the
not
dog,
the sharp money.
it's the fucking sharp money.
Mike is right about that. Right.
Wait, hold on. GRP, it's okay. GRP, let him talk,
If,
Mike.
in general, Mike has a point. If the money goes on the
He does?
underdog, many times it is sharp money. If the money goes on the favorite, and the favorite won last week against a team that lost, many times that is the public. In general,
Correct.
Mike has a point. But his other point that if you bet the favorite and you win, you're a dummy, you're the public. Well, that's not true. I mean, I know a lot of people that, bet Duke every game, and they've been dead right. It's been a favorite year. And there were people that said in the NCAA tournament 2 weeks ago, this is a year of the favorite. And they don't have to apologize for being right. I mean, they were dead, they were dead right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Here's a segment that I've kind of thought up, and I'm gonna just run it over the guys. And I thought during football season it would be great because I know he does a real nice job on his notebooks. He totals everything up like once a month, like let's say after the first of every month or something. Have George come on for 10 or 15
That's
minutes.
exactly what I was thinking, Cantu.
And have him do like a once a month, give us the run, what he's noticed, any streaks, stats, fun stats.
Well, here's another thing we can do if you want. So I don't.
Well, hold on
Okay,
one
go
sec,
ahead.
GRP. I love this idea.
Right.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. I'd love to have you come on once a month during football season for sure, but maybe a little bit more than that. But definitely during football season once a month. I was thinking the exact same thing. Would be really great to have you pop on, and you seem to fit well with us. What were you going to say, GRP?
Very
wins?
simple. Minimum, but here's the other thing. So I'm not on for too long. We could even do once a week, but just for 10 minutes, I can come on the last 10 minutes of the show, and you guys can each give your 2-3 picks. I'll write it down and I'll show it on the screen, and that's it. And then you guys can do the rest of your show. You can have different.
I love
We can
that.
do that.
I love
Or
that.
we do what you guys said. You make your picks, you tweet it out, and then I will retweet what you tweet, write it in my notebook, and then I can come on the show once a month. So we got 5 months to decide, whatever you guys think is best.
Yes. Woodley, would you like to do our sponsor read? Let's do that now.
Yeah, for sure. Got to give a shout out to our sponsor as always, edgeboost.bet. Have you ever had your debit card declined at the worst moment, or maybe your PayPal account gets frozen and suddenly you're out of options to rebuy at a casino? Well, today's sponsor has your back. EdgeBoost is the first ever dedicated bank account for gamblers. That's right, 100% approval for sports betting, daily fantasy sports, casino, and sweeps, whether you're online or at a brick and mortar. And they just got named official payments partner of the WSOP. So we'll all see it there. But here's where it gets even better. With the EdgeBoost Visa debit card, you can move up to $250K a day and earn cash back on every deposit. You also get cash back, as mentioned, and check it out. That's edgeboost.bet, edgeboost.bet. We'll be doing some more updates, like heading into the World Series poker too. There's like some pretty cool announcements coming there, and obviously there's a lot of poker players that listen to this, so a lot of them are going to be using EdgeBoost at the WSOP, which is super exciing.
Cantu, do you have a question for GRP Wins? Or do you
I
have
had
one?
a question from
Woodley does
from real
first.
quick. Yeah. I know we were talking a little bit before, and George, you play a lot of PLO. Are you I know you'll be at Bet Bash, so you'll make your Vegas appearance there, but I know you mentioned you might not do the poker thing. Are you gonna go down to the World Series of Poker this year? I know people would probably love to play in some tournaments that you're in. There's some good PLO
I'm
ones.
50-50. If I did, I'd never played a PLO tournament in my life. 20 years ago during the boom, 15, I played in a half a dozen 10K buy-ins. I was at the World Poker Tour event, I believe in 2008, when it was Phil and Phil Ivey at the final table at Commerce. Were you at the final table that year? Yeah. I came in 24th place. I misplayed a hand. Totally my fault. So
That one pissed me off, George. I'm going to come right. I'll just say, since you brought it up, I'm going to go real quick. That one I blew. I had 5 million in chips. Phil Ivey had 2 million. Everybody else had 1 million. And I did pick up aces against ace king suited, but that one I blew. Continue.
did you come in second that year? I don't remember that. Did you come in second?
No.
Fifth or sixth, but I blew
I came in 24th, and I blew it. I got lucky a couple times, but I blew it. I had an average stack. Doesn't matter. A guy min raised. I went all in with 10-8 of hearts because I want to make the better hand. I want to make ace 10 fold, king, yada, yada, yada. And the guy limped in with aces, but still, he min raised. I never should have done that because I knew exactly what he had. Stupid, my fault. I blew it, and I'll never forgive myself for that. But regarding to the World Series, I used to go every year. I haven't been in about 7 years. I may go for just 2-3 days. I'll find like 2 PLO tournaments, close to each other, and I'll give it a shot. I'll meet some people, have some fun. So I'm 50-50. Let's put it that way.
Okay, you know what? Because we're running a little long on time, I had 2 questions, but I'm going to just do one question for George. It's this is when I became a fan of yours.
You can ask 2 questions, Cantu.
Well, I'll start with one.
His
see where it
nickname
goes.
is 82. Let him ask 2. Right, ask 2.
My first question is, my first statement is I became a big fan of yours when you were tracking the solar eclipse. This was a very funny thing to watch. I had the solar eclipse happen in Portland. It was about 7 or 8 years ago, and we only got 99%. We didn't get full totality. Now, with you were driving, you're going to have to refresh my memory, but it was like 6 hours. You had a map route because you were worried because you're going to have to sit in traffic like 12 hours, 24 hours. You had all the gas stations routed out. You were bringing like extra gas tanks. And I want to know, and I'm kind of setting the scene here a little bit for our audience. You were driving all across like Illinois, Indiana. You refresh us on the city. And what happened that you went all the way, spent 12 hours, and you missed the solar eclipse? Can you tell me what happened when you missed the eclipse?
Very simple. I didn't miss the eclipse. I totally 100% saw it. What I screwed up was a month before my phone started going AWOL, and I knew I was ready for a new phone. Stupid me. I'm like, okay, I'll just get it after the eclipse because I don't want to get a new phone and maybe it doesn't work. Maybe, yada, yada, yada. So 100%, I was just east of Indianapolis in a little town called Greenfield, Indiana. I mean, a little picturesque little place. The eclipse was phenomenal. It took me about 6 hours to get there because I went straight east from Chicago. So then I was in the northeast corner of Indiana, and then the weather changed. I was literally following the weather. It was so much fun. I was and then I went towards southeast towards Indianapolis. I was just east of Indianapolis. The eclipse was phenomenal. I'd do it again. I screwed up with my phone. I didn't get a good, I got no recording at all. I was so embarrassed. I couldn't believe it. Now driving home. So now I'm east of Indianapolis. I have to drive back to Chicago area. Needless to say, there were thousands of people that took, I think it was the 57, whatever that road is, south. I literally took me 7 hours to get home, which is normally like a 3-hour trip. But believe me, I would have done it again. That eclipse was magical. It was absolutely magical.
Nothing was funnier than I turned my Twitter notifications on. So that day I was getting them straight to me because I had to see what was going to happen with the Eclipse. And then he has like every gas station, every stop, every few minutes, he's doing an update. And then it's time for the Eclipse. He goes, sorry, guys, I missed it.
No, I missed recording it.
Good luck. And I missed it because I wanted to see what it was going to look like.
I hate to say, I give you bad news. I know what you're talking about. You only got like 98% of the one in Oregon. I heard that was great too.
It was okay. The what we got in Oregon, I heard you had to be more like Independence, Oregon, more Central
Eclipse
Oregon.
that went across the country, and they told Donald Trump, "Don't look at it without sunglasses," and he took his sunglasses.
You go blind.
I'll never forget that because it was so
There was
funny.
one in April a year ago, and there was the one in Oregon about 7-8 years ago. But the people that drove there from California, it was like a ton. They all said they'd do it again. It's the kind of thing you have to be there. You have to see it. It's absolutely magical.
And my second question or comment is, I really love where you go into nature. He does a lot of like nature hikes. He goes in, and what he does is he puts a board down, like what you do in a kid, like in the middle of a field or a forest. And he goes, I'm going to come back in 4 days and I'm going to show everybody on Twitter what is under the board. And so he's done this like 3 or 4 times that I've seen, maybe more. He goes back, and every time he looks under the board and there's nothing there.
That's true.
And also you document the deer that you see. I like the deer. I was hoping maybe you could do the board a few more times this year. It never gets old for me.
It's funny. It's called board flipping. I'm not the only person. I'm not the first person that does it. If you live, there you go. If you live more where there's more snake.
Greenfield, Indiana. I had to Google it. It's real. It looks like it's
real.
A little bit east of, looks like it's directly east of Indianapolis.
Correct. That's where it was.
That's the place where you could buy a 8 acres in a 8,000 square foot house for like $1 million bucks, right?
It probably
Yeah.
I'll Google the Greenfield real estate while Cantu continues to question
right.
GRP.
And just Google Greenfield homes for sale, and then you can tell anytime what they're all about. But Brandon, correct. I put these boards out. It's called board flipping, and I'm not the only. And yes, I'm 0 for 5. Literally, where the Rivers Casino was, where Phil was a couple months ago. There's a big river there, and I'm literally 100 yards from the river. And I'm like 0 for 5 in finding animals. I can't believe it. It's just, it's outrageous.
0 for 5.
Well, here's a funny thing. So he was right next to the Bet Rivers property, but somebody down at Circa could tell where he was outside the casino in the forest, Phil, and goes and puts their Circa like a goodie bag underneath like shirts and merch. And he's like, "Who did this? Who found where I was?" That was one of my favorite.
Jeff.
Shout out to Jeffrey
Jeff
Benson.
Of course, we follow each other, what we do on Twitter. He had one of his right-hand men in Illinois, the guy that works up in Waukee, just drive a half an hour, and he gave him a real good idea of where I put the boards, real close. And obviously, this guy just was walking in the woods. He saw a board. He put the bag under the board. And, of course, when I lifted the wood, I thought, it could be anything. And it could have been an animal in there. And it really scared me. It was unbelievable.
Mike, I found a place for you, Mike. $300,000 in Greenfield, Indiana. It has a nice swimming pool. You like a swimming pool.
And it's what, like 5,000
3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,500 square feet. It's a little small, but you'd probably be all right with small right now.
No, but you know what? I also wanted to shout out to everybody out there to let them know that they found out what was wrong with me. And the good news is it's nothing major, but it's going to take 4 to 12 weeks to heal completely. And I'm going to be okay. And that is a big relief for me.
Did you
What
tweet
was
out,
wrong
Mike?
with you?
Mike,
What was
did
wrong
you
with you,
tweet
Mike?
out that you had to go into the emergency room? Did you tweet that out?
I did on Facebook. Yeah.
Mike had to go to the emergency room for too much pain. And I feel so bad for Mike because he's had permanent back pain, GRP wins, for a long time. It's been rough for him. And I mean, Cantu's been with him when Mike's down on the ground. I've been with him where Mike's just, it's been real rough. And it's kind of impressive that Mike's managed to just keep making final tables in all the pain that he's in.
Oh.
And for Mike to go to the emergency room, the pain must have been extreme.
I followed Mike for years.
So,
and Mike, didn't you have a surgery like 5 years ago? You thought you maybe never walk
It
again?
was 10 years ago already. It was almost going
10
on
years
11.
ago already?
Yeah, 2014 of October. But like, honestly, like going in yesterday and the imaging showing exactly what's wrong with me, like, is a big relief. Like I was like, Phil, I talk to Phil every night, and I was like panicking, like, oh, am I going to die? I mean, is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? And so when it comes up something that is not very major, even though it's going to take 4 to 12 weeks to heal, I feel pretty good.
I'm happy for you, Mike, because they say the back surgery is the worst kind to have. That's what they say.
Yeah, this is a different injury. The back I'm stuck with the rest of my life, but this to me like was something that I thought could have been life-threatening. I thought it could have been. I didn't know what it was, and as it ends up being something that I don't even know. Like my doctor says, I don't know how the hospital could have possibly overlooked it. He goes, I looked at the imaging. He showed me the imaging. He goes, this is what it is, and he's right. He showed me the imaging, and for the ER hospital to overlook it and not give me that diagnosis is pretty.
Can you
bad.
take it? Can you take an image and like put it on the internet and have AI read it? Because I've been hearing that the AI is better than the humans at seeing things.
Maybe, I don't know, but I know I saw the imaging yesterday, and there's no doubt in my mind that it is what it is. I just don't know how the hospital overlooked it.
Okay, I think we're going to wrap this up, guys. I'm going to say that GRP had been a pleasure to have you on here. Really nice, really enjoyed it. Knowledgeable, fun, but you also have a high enough EQ to know that it might go on and on and on sometimes, and to when to shut them up as well. So that takes a little practice and balance. Cantu has a tortured life on the podcast because every time he starts laying down good points, Mike interrupts him, and Cantu doesn't quite know how to handle that yet.
Mike tries to beat me to my own points.
I kind of do it on purpose.
3/4 of the time.
Because I do it a lot of times on purpose because I know that it gets a little rail. Kind of like you guys make fun of me on purpose.
But you do it every time.
You get me railed up, but I'll try and be better.
Mike, real quick,
Mike.
I'm glad that everything came back clear. I know you were you're like a bit worried about it, so I'm happy. I know there's someone else. I just texted him about this as well. That's also happy. He's been having a tough go of it on Twitter. He's been losing some income, partially to GRP. Steve Fezzik is very happy to hear that you're going to be around and continuing to pay him for his picks.
Woodley waited till the end. He's like, Mike, now you can walk off the podcast. We're going to hammer you with Fezzik content.
He would never pay for those picks. He would never pay for this.
Steve's a nice guy.
Hey, George.
Fezzik is a nice guy. I met him last year at Bet Bash 4. First time I ever met him in my life. He's a smart guy. Pick sellers get harassed. We all have bad years, but Fezzik is a nice guy. He really is.
Well, Mike needs to follow. I'm gonna plug you now, George. George has been giving picks away for free for years now, and like this is going to be his first year of doing a package. Like I'm signing up for it. I think Mike should sign up for it, because the thing about George, which I really like, is George isn't one of these guys that says I'm going to pick like 5 games a week or 3 games a week, right? We do 2 a week for the podcast because like sometimes Mike, I'll give Mike credit this too. Sometimes Mike comes on here doesn't want to do a single one, right, or doesn't have an opinion on a game. George's whole thing is like he's going to do like sometimes 1 a week, sometimes 2 a week, and there'll probably be weeks where he just does 0 because he doesn't have a good read. And I think that's there's something about that I think is lost in the education of newer bettors, which is you don't have to bet every fucking game on the board. And that's actually the easiest way to like lose all your money. So like pick your spots, and George does that. He picks his spots, and like I hope he wins. But if he doesn't, like at least it's not someone that's having you throw 10 games a week.
Do you guys actually bet your picks? Sometimes you do. Sometimes, yeah. Because I'm going to be betting 1,500 a game, 1,500, as early as Tuesdays. And I'm going to, if I bet, I'm going to show the bet slip. And after the games kick off, I'm going to show the whole ticket. There's no fooling around. And yeah, you're going to see a losing month. I'm going to have one losing month for sure. I'm not hiding anything.
Yeah,
I bet 2,500. I bet 5,000 already on your Minnesota over 8.5. That bet's in. I also bet 2,500 on Duke. And then I also bet Knueppel. I think I'm going to have to check with my real bookie because one of the sites I go to, I'm limited to 500 on the Knueppel over 14.5.
Right.
All right, guys, it's time to wrap it up. Let's give GRP a round of applause because he fits in so well. He validated some of what Mike has to say, which pissed the rest of us off, but was true. But he also said he gave Mike 30-40% credit, not 60-70% credit, so we can still continue to hammer our boy Mikey. Goodbye, guys.
Guys, thank you. It was a lot of fun.